Love reading those lines. Woke dying a slow and painful death. Several major companies scale back DI initiatives. It's all about DI right now, you guys, and 2025 looks really good.
Well, it seems we might finally be ditching the woke identity politics that has plagued us for years. Author Lionel Shriver writes there is genuine hope Donald Trump's emphatic victory is a woke watershed, and that universities and businesses are realising they've been duped by the left. But is it too good to be true? Joining me from London is writer and
I
commentator
see her
Esther
enjoying
Kraku.
saying that.
Esther, lovely to speak with you. Thank you for joining me. Look, there is no doubt that Donald Trump's victory has given a renewed sense of optimism that the woke is petering out. I'm optimistic, though I do think we still have some way to go. Are we jumping the gun? Is
We
it too
do,
good to be
especially
true?
in
What do you think?
gaming
Well,
and
first of all, Happy New
movies.
Year to you. And it seems like it's going to be a Happy New Year indeed, because we're seeing, at least on the corporate side, some indications that woke is finally dying a slow and painful death. We saw that Walmart, and basically in the wake of Donald Trump's election, basically mentioned that they're no longer going to take into account race and gender policies when choosing a supplier, and that they're going to review a lot of their sort of DEI initiatives. You have companies like Boeing basically phasing out their DEI programs. Starbucks hasn't had a DEI program basically since April. You have Harley Davidson as well saying they're going to review their DEI policies. You have HBO, the network, standing by J.K. Rowling, even though she's received a lot of heat for her gender critical views and her views on basically men and women's spaces. And the network has decided to stand by her, which is an incredible thing. I mean, even in the statement that Walmart released when they were talking about reviewing their DEI policies, you know, they said they were a shop for all Americans, which is quite indicative of the fact that they know that these kind of woke policies are dividing people and it's doing businesses more harm than good. We saw what happened with Jaguar with their ridiculous advert and all the backlash they faced from that.
Yeah,
No one can forget
man.
Bud Light and the controversy around there and
That
how
was
much, you know,
so
their stock prices
terrible.
were severely hit by the fact that they decided to go with, you know, the transgender activist Dylan Mulvaney in their advertising, which really annoyed their customer base. So on the corporate side, we're seeing a lot of indications that actually woke is finally dying because they're realizing it's not good for their bottom dollar. However, on the public sector,
As long as as long as it, as long as it is not getting them the money, they will definitely flip. They don't care. They never cared. They just cared about getting the money, getting the cash. And now that they are stopping getting those, they're like, oh, maybe we were not right. Maybe we chose the wrong side.
many sort of jurisdictions around the world, particularly the Western world, that woke is not dying a slow and as painful death. You can see still like rainbow crossings, pedestrian crossings here in the UK, particularly in London, thanks to Sadiq Khan. You see sort of initiatives where, like in Canada, for example,
I never really had anything against having their own flag and their own representation. Nothing, nothing. What's really triggered me is them butting into entertainment business, making every movie, every series, every game have to have some type of DI initiative. And that is the problem. Like, I don't want to see that in my movies and in my entertainment. I don't mind seeing that when I go outside. I don't even go outside that much, so it's fine.
districts in Ontario had to pay £8,000, the equivalent of 8,000 British pounds, for not announcing their Pride initiatives from 4 years ago. I mean, these are the kinds of things that are still happening in the public sector, but certainly in the private sector and the corporate space, woke is certainly dying, and it's a joy to see.
Well, what's the old saying? Go woke, go broke, as they say. It's all about their bottom line. It's all about the money. So, yeah, I completely understand why this is happening. Now, let's talk about the hapless wonder that is the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. He has doubled down on his pledge to deliver change. Here was part of his New Year's address. Have a look.
Until you can look forward and believe in the promise and the prosperity of Britain again, then this government will fight for you. A fight for change that will define this year, next year, and indeed every waking hour of this government.
Esther, I don't even think this guy believes himself. How much optimism is there that he will actually make genuine change?
The answer to that will be zero. That New Year's announcement went down like a lead balloon. There is really no optimism in the country to be found. The problem with the Labour Party is they say one thing and they do the other. Unless you're a union or a train driver here in the UK, you really feel like Labour is only out there to benefit its client groups and basically give nods to its friends, a la Sadiq Khan. But if you're really a pensioner, if you're a farmer, if you're a student, if you're just a working person trying to be productive, pay taxes, take care of your families, the Labour Party has nothing to offer you. If anything, they're detrimental. We talk about the ridiculous
Yeah.
immigration figures that have hit basically 2 million in the last couple of years on this tiny island.
Yeah,
But
man,
what
immigration is actually a real big issue in so many European countries, Germany as well. I think in America too, even though America is not a European country, but I'm saying it is visible, very, very visible. I don't know about the UK, but I know here in Germany it is so visible. It is a problem right now. There's a lot of hate right now. We have voting going on, and one of the parties that is against immigration is pretty much winning. Yeah, so I don't know what the future looks like, but I don't think it looks anything like right now. Things are going to be changing.
no one's talking about the people that are leaving. We just talk about net migration. We're not talking about the people that these people are replacing, these sort of lower value, more working class people from the developing world that are replacing, high productivity, high net worth individuals. Can you believe that the UK has lost more millionaires than China, communist China, in the last year alone? And that's a trend that's only going to continue. The UK's
There is nothing wrong with losing a bit of millionaires. I don't think that is a problem, like millionaires don't really help that much.
Labour Party has nothing to offer the country. Economic growth is nowhere to be found. They're still cozying up to the EU that's struggling economically themselves. I mean, Germany hasn't grown in really close to a decade, and yet
This is so true. It grew in population. That's the only thing it grew as, but it's going downhill, and it's going downhill so fast. Like I have been living in Germany for 5 years. I didn't see the decline exactly, but things I didn't notice at the start, I definitely noticed after living here for a while. Yeah, it's not what it sounds and seems. I love living in Germany, don't get me wrong. I would always choose living here, but bro, it wasn't what we were like learning about when we were younger. It's not what it was supposed to be.
we have a prime minister and a cabinet that's enthralled to the EU and the EU promise and everything to do with Germany and France and all these dying European economies. So unfortunately, everything that he says falls on deaf ears. I think the biggest problem that the UK faces that the Labour Party just seems completely hopeless to address is energy. We have the highest energy prices in the developed world, and that affects everything from businesses to investment to households, and yet nothing is being done. We're going down this net zero madness with steaming fury, and unfortunately, there's not really much optimism to be found when this is the direction of travel.
No, it sounds like it's absolutely in a complete mess over there. And to add to that,
everywhere.
1,300 illegal migrants have now crossed the English Channel since Christmas Day alone, and hundreds more crossed today. Esther, look, it's clear that Labor cannot get this under...
I honestly feel like it's time to stop. I genuinely think it's time to stop. Middle Eastern, I am half Arab, I am Jordanian, and I know the politics in Middle East, all right? I get it firsthand, and the problem is that you have so many countries in the Middle East that are so rich, they can help every single country that is struggling in the Middle East, and they are not doing that. Their fellow Arab neighbors, they are not doing that. Why Europeans are doing that? That's the problem. And not only, it's fine if you are helping people, but the fact that you are giving them better life than the people who are living and born here, that is the problem. You know, like civilians who are living here in this country, Germans, original Germans, I don't know how to call them really, they are furious by what the government is doing and how they are treating immigrants, how they are treating them even better than their own people. And once you start doing that, there is a grudge there. Immigrants cannot really vote. Those people can vote, and they are definitely going to vote for the party that is listening to them and the party that cares about them. So that's a problem. And yeah, as I said, I have nothing against immigrants as long as they are doing their job, they are grateful for what they have, they are working on developing, on better development of the country, they are actually following the rules of the country, you know, they are trying, not trying to be overstepping, you know. That's the thing. I feel like a lot of them are overstepping. And we have also the question of immigrants who are not like legal, and immigrants who we don't even know who they are. They can be literal terrorists or prisoners or murderers, you know, and they just come here and they're like welcome to like this. That's a problem, you know, like growing in a country like that and raising children in a country where, you know, like people like that exist, it is the problem. And how to deal with that, I don't even know. I don't want to go into details with the politics. I'm just going as a normal person, as a mother, like what is my child gonna have for the future if we don't change the present and we don't set like actual rules that work for the country and the development of the country.
Control, because that is a significant amount of migrants in just a week.
Yes, and when we talk about the idea of safety, they say, oh, but legal migration is so much higher. We should worry about them.
But legal migration, at least you know who these are. You know who these people. You at least know that they can do the job that they promised. They have their passports. You have their papers, you know, if they are doctors, if they are like, you can work with these people, they are educated. Illegal ones can just lie to you and you're like, it's okay, you're welcome here, I know you are struggling. Like, no, you know what else, there are people who travel from another country, go into the country that is problematic right now in war and whatnot, and then they pretend to be illegal immigrants just to have better opportunities in Europe and other countries. They are not even suffering. They don't come from that country. Like, it's crazy.
At least legal migrants, we know who they are. They're vetted in some way or form. A lot of these illegal migrants crossing the channel, they destroy their documentation. They tend to come from regions of the world that are hotbeds for religious extremism. Many of them, the vast majority of them, are working age males. You're trying to tell communities, women and children, that they should feel safe with having unvetted, mainly males from dangerous parts of the world coming into the communities, living up in hotels, taking over their local communities. And the Labour Party has nothing to do, like has basically no plan to solve this. They scrapped the Rwanda scheme. They continue to hand out hotels and benefits to these illegal aliens, while people in this country struggle to heat their homes or to find housing or even to feed their families. It is a complete and utter joke.
Now, you mentioned earlier Sadiq Khan, of course.
And I'm not a bad person to say that. I agree. I would help anyone in need, but this is getting out of hand.
The London mayor, he has been awarded a knighthood in the New Year's honours list. Esther, some have said that this decision makes the UK the laughingstock. How on earth did he get this honour?
Well, again, if you're one of the Labour Party's buddies, if you're part of their client groups, you obviously get a gong, even if it's for failure. London has become unrecognisable since 2016, since Sadiq Khan became the mayor. It has become more dangerous. Knife crime has been up by 50%. If you're a woman, forget traveling around at night in London. I mean, it's completely unrecognizable. It's just balkanization of ghettos and ethno religious basically enclaves. And yet he's being rewarded for this failure. Now, I personally don't think any sitting politician should get an honor anyway, because I think it's extremely partisan and in very poor taste. But to give it to someone like Sadiq Khan just makes a mockery of the entire system. And unfortunately, people are going to lose more and more faith in this Labour government as a result.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. It's always jobs for the mates, as they say. Esther Kraku, good to see you. Happy New Year. Thank you very much for joining me on the show this evening.
Happy New Year, guys. Hopefully this year will treat us better and some things are going to change to the better. At the end of the day, remember, you have the right to vote and things are in your hands. Like, you can change stuff. Don't think just because you're an individual you cannot change things. You are an individual, but there is a couple of you out there. If you become a group, if you like, your voice does matter. So do your self a favor, educate yourself and choose the right side. Choose whatever you think personally for yourself, your family works.